Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing another section of my 2017 travel album with you guys. If you've been watching for a while or seen some of my old videos, you'll know that the very first album that I made for Project Life was a 2016 travel album. And then I ended up loving documenting those travels so much that I went back in December and made a retroactive album for 2016. Um, so I'm really enjoying this year, kind of after working on so many monthly spreads for 2016 and 2017, going back to the thing that I started with, which is just documenting our travels. For Casey and I, we love to travel. It's one of our favorite hobbies together. And even though we've been traveling a little bit less this year because we're saving, it's been nice to take some trips and to spend the time to document those. So you'll notice right away that I try to keep these spreads a lot more simple than my normal Project Life albums. I really want the focus to be on the photos and on some paper things that I bring home as well, but mostly photos. You can also see that I'm employing my always typical method of doing similar colors diagonal from one another. So you can see I have those kind of black and white, sort of dark photos and cards diagonal, and then the other ones sort of have a lot of white and blue going on in them. You can see that I stamped the date on the wing of the airplane there with my Heidi Swap date stamp, excuse me, and I used Stays On ink if you want something not to wipe off a slick surface like a photo or tape or a glassine bag or something like that, you want to use Stays On ink or something similar. The other thing that I do a lot in my travel albums, and I'm really having a lot of fun doing again, is to keep it really simple so the focus is on those photos, and so that most of my embellishments that I end up adding are really just kind of a neutral washi tape, some stamps, and then, every once in a while, a cardstock embellishment of some type, or maybe a Project Life card. You can tell right away the embellishments are going to be a lot less than they are in my normal albums, and that's okay. It's a fun change to kind of go back to that first style, the simple style that I did before. Um, sorry I'm not doing anything in this part of the video. I was watching something on Netflix and then it was over and I was trying to find something else to watch and the thing I wanted wasn't on Netflix anymore. So I am not that great at editing videos yet, so I didn't cut it out. But thanks for bearing with me. Um, like I said, I'm having a lot of fun going back and trying this sort of more simple style again. The washi tapes that I got are from Hobby Lobby. They have those sort of 2-pack um, colors of washi tape that coordinate with one another, so I like to just pick up sort of a black and white or black and white and metallic or white and metallic type colored tape and then just use that same tape over and over through the albums. Um, Also, all the stamps I'm using right now are Kelly Purkey stamps. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I have a lot of her stamps and that watching her channel and seeing some of her spreads was kind of what inspired me to start actually doing Project Life in the first place. So I have a lot of her stamps, especially travel ones, since that's the only documenting I was doing initially. And I'm glad to be able to use them a little more frequently. I've still been using them in my normal albums, but since so many of them are just travel based, it's really nice to get to use more of them again. Um, you can see on this spread that I'm working on, I have a lot of photos with really nice green in them, a lot of outdoor things. This trip was back in April, and it was starting to get spring-like here, but it wasn't as green and springy as it was in New Orleans. So it was really lovely to be around, all the green plants and trees. I also have a couple pictures in there of like a cocktail and some dinner that we had one night that had, really nice fresh herbs and mint and things in them. So you can see I'm just adding this washi tape and then stamping over it, or sometimes I'll stamp on a glassine bag, scrap, or a piece of white cardstock just to give it like a little bit more um, variance if it's kind of a lighter color. Um, I'm also using a couple stamp sets from Kelly Purkey that are um, sort of like love related or um, related to favorite things that came in a couple of her kits. If they're still on her website, I'll link them below, but they may not be. But I really love those, and I find that I get to use them a lot, especially since Casey and I family is just Casey and I and our cats. I get to use the lovey-dovey stamps quite a lot, which I'm okay with. um, on the next side of the page, I have a picture from Audubon Park. And I guess I should say we went on this trip with our friends Brittany and Tyler, and Casey and I had already been to New Orleans twice before this trip, and it's just one of our very favorite cities to visit in the US, even still after quite a few years of traveling a lot. It remains at the top of our list, and so when they said that they wanted to go, we were really excited to go again and also to get to show them a city that we love. And so it was really nice because we got to show them things and also try things that we hadn't seen before and some things that they wanted to do. And it was a good balance of stuff like that. So Audubon Park was something they suggested, and it was really fun. It was a very beautiful park. On this next page here, I've got some photos from um, sort of some daytime activities. We went to Cafe du Monde, which is the sort of iconic place to get beignets in New Orleans, and Brittany and Tyler really wanted to go there, so we went and had a good time. Casey and I, having been multiple times, have some pretty strong opinions about beignets, so it's not our favorite place to get beignets, but we did enjoy getting to go there and letting them experience sort of that very iconic place. I'm also just trying to fit in some other photos from our trip. There's a little cat that lived in one of the bookstores we visited. Her name is Juniper, which I thought was really cute. Um, and we also went to Lafayette Cemetery, which we had never been to. And this time we actually ended up getting there as it was closing. So we didn't get to go in, but you can see through the gates, which was really nice. It's the closest we've been yet. So maybe if we take a fourth trip someday, we will actually make it in there and get to walk around more. But it's just really beautiful, and it's such an interesting thing because, they don't really do above ground graves and things like that where we live. So it was really fun to kind of see that there. I'm just looking for a card that's blue so I can kind of get those diagonal colors going. And I'm also looking for some stamps to use on these photos. Sometimes I feel like it's very easy to match. Like the last spread, everything was kind of green, but now I'm just struggling to add what I want here. I have this sort of clear tag and I'm wanting to stamp on it, but I didn't measure it first, and so once I get it stamped, it's not centered, and if it was centered, it wouldn't fit on the tag, so it wasn't going to work either way. Um, oh well, I'll see if I can use it a different way later. But it's just kind of the trial and error thing. At the bottom there, we have a picture of St. Louis Cathedral in Jackson Square, and that's kind of their iconic cathedral, and it's really beautiful. You can actually go inside. It's free, and they have a really pretty interior with some lovely art and stained glass and things like that. We were actually there on Easter Sunday, so we didn't go inside because they were going to have mass. But it's still beautiful from the outside as well. So we spent some time in Jackson Square just kind of soaking up the nice weather. Brittany and Tyler live in Boston right now, so they were really enjoying the sun and the warmth because it was not warm or sunny in Boston at all at this time yet. I stamped Big City Love here, and it doesn't stamp beautifully, and every time I try to stamp over it again, it looks horrible, but I'm gonna try it anyway. And luckily, it actually looks okay. So I'm very relieved because I'm sure I say this in every video, there's something that doesn't stamp correctly. So I'm really glad that that actually ended up working out. And now I'm just looking for more photos because I'm not sure what I want to put here. This is not, the spread didn't come together immediately in my head like some of the other ones did. Um, I think also at some point here I'm going to remember that I have a pile of paper things that I brought home, like business cards and tickets and receipts and things like that. So I think I end up putting some of those paper pieces of memorabilia on this card after I stamp it because it just looks too empty. Um, so I use these tickets from the streetcar because that's another very New Orleans thing. They have several streetcars that go to different parts of the city, and while we'd been on it before, we actually took a different streetcar that we had never been on this trip. So that was really fun. We got to go past some really neat mansions and just kind of see some different things. And it actually worked out well because it ended up raining that day. But we were on the streetcar, so it was fine. So it was kind of perfect timing, really. Um, on this page, I just have some more. I actually moved that photo of the cemetery, and there's also another cemetery photo there. So I just moved them to the other page. And like I say all the time, I don't love the double 4x6 page protectors because I don't like the 4x6s very much. I think that they're just harder for me to design in a way that I like a lot, and so um, I kind of, in some of these travel albums, I'm just resolving to go ahead and use those pockets because I have so many 4x6 photos, and just hoping that they look nice, even though that's not my typical thing. I'm working on a 3x4 card here, and then I'm putting another 3x3 card on it that has kind of this sort of compass looking design to it. And then I'm hoping to embellish it just a little bit. And I start using these stickers from One Canoe 2 from the Creekside collection, but they actually don't look great because I haven't used any stickers anywhere in this album, so it just feels like too much, so I actually will end up changing it later, which is okay. That's something that just happens. Trial and error again. Um, I think I also mentioned this in my other video, but I like to add white text over the top of some of my photos. So that way, especially on these photo heavy spreads, not everything is plain photo after plain photo after plain photo. And even if I'm embellishing, it's not just a bunch of plain photos with the same exact type of embellishment on them. The having the text over the photo adds a little bit of contrast to them. It also adds just a tiny bit of journaling in that, now I know where the photo is from. I won't forget. Um, and it's just something, I just like the way that it looks. This tape is so obnoxious. That is my one thing that I don't like about these tapes from Hobby Lobby and from several other places, is just that you have to take the backing off each piece that you tear. And sometimes it's fine, and sometimes I can't get them off, and I just find it really aggravating. And my cats try to eat them, like eat the pieces that you tear off, because I don't know, I guess they just look fun, and it's just, ugh, it's horrible. I'm always really scared it's gonna get stuck in their stomach, so I try to be really careful about throwing those away. But you guys know, well, maybe you don't, but cats are crazy. They will do what they want anyway. On this next page, I have another photo from Audubon Park. Two photos, actually. The first one at the top is a little hard to see if your video is small, but it's some turtles that live in the park. And I don't know, where we live, we have plenty of places where you can go and feed like fish in a pond or whatever, and they will come up and they will eat, but I've never seen turtles do that. But these turtles in the park must get fed a lot because they all swarm towards us, and it was just so cool to see because I've just never seen anyone do that. Oh, here's Scallywag. He's so cute. This is our other cat. I think in my other video, Duchess is in it for a little bit. So he apparently wants attention, which is actually kind of rare So he just lays down right on top of my project here. I think he's there for a little while, so I just try to keep working, but he's so silly. The struggle is real with pets. So now I'm just trying to get all my stuff out from underneath him. I keep working here, and this is probably going to be one of my least favorite pages just because I don't feel like those pictures go particularly well together, but they're what's left over, so now I'm trying to get him to move. Bye, Cal. Anyway, I don't love the way these two photos work together, but you kind of just have to do what you can with what you have left as you go through your album. And I think I've mentioned plenty of times before that I don't like to get rid of photos that I've already printed because it just feels wasteful, especially since I print my own photos. I hate throwing something away after I printed it, so I just leave it. It's okay. Not every page has to be really exciting. On the next page, I have some photos from a restaurant called Dat Dog, which is a favorite of Casey and I's. They have all these different hot dogs of different varieties, so they're not all actual hot dogs. Like they have like veggie dogs, and they have like this one that I always get is like a piece of fried fish that's put on a hot dog bun. So they just have some really fun things, and they have a nice patio outside that you can sit at. We stayed there for a while. The afternoon we were there, and we played some board games outside. I think we played Uno, so that was just kind of nice. We really like to go there. I have a business card from them, and I'm wanting to put it in, but I don't really like anything I have to mount it on. But I kind of just resolved that, these two aren't going to be my favorite pages, and that's okay. Not every page can be my favorite. And you never know. Half the time I end up going back through these and making changes again, so I'm not going to let it bother me. I think the white ones just look too plain, and then all the colored ones just look too colorful, and I need something in between, but I don't have something in my stash that kind of fits the bill. I'm thinking maybe adding some of the Skinny MT washi tape will help, and it does a little bit, but I still don't love it. But I'm gonna fuss over it for a while, I guess. Giving up, just putting it down now, and moving on to the next side. So these are kind of some evening pictures from the Frenchman art market. By the time that this is posted, the art market won't exist on Frenchman Street anymore. I think that they got evicted from their space or something. I think it's something that the town is kind of, the people of the town are kind of upset about because it's kind of an institution, and I don't know why they're being asked to leave the space, but we loved it, and I'm sure that if you visit them online, you'll be able to figure out their new location and all that. But they just have a lot of arts vendors, and it's really fun to kind of go check everything out. The beignets in this picture are from our favorite place, which is called Cafe Beignet. They're not sponsoring me, but I'm very happy to tell you they have 2 locations in the city. One is on Royal Street in the Quarter, and the other one is on Bourbon, which is also in the Quarter. And it's kind of a nice little reprieve from the party atmosphere that can sometimes be Bourbon Street, because it's in a nice little courtyard called Jazz Legends Music Park. And they also have a nice kind of order off the wall menu as well. So if you don't want to spend a lot on food, or you're hungry and it's late or something, they have like red beans and rice and jambalaya and po' boys and stuff like that. So you can get like regular food there as well, which is really nice. At night they have live music on the Bourbon Street, at the Bourbon Street location, which is pretty fun. It's usually like jazz or some sort of like 40s vintage music, which is really nice, especially if you've been walking all day and you don't really want to go into a club on Bourbon Street. It's kind of nice just to sit and relax a little bit. I'm just adding some more embellishments to this last page. I think if you saw my other video where I stamp the same thing several times and then kind of collage them over a dark photo. That's what I'm going to be doing again here because I actually loved the way it turned out. So I'm just stamping bar hopping twice, or I'm sorry, 4 times. Um, which is just, it's kind of funny because I don't know if you can really call this bar hopping. I think we just went a few places and we didn't really drink a lot or stay out very late, but that's probably the extent of bar hopping for me and Casey because that's just not our thing. But you know, we did go out more than we usually do, so, and I never get the chance to use the stamp, so I thought it would work just fine. And you can kind of see in the background there are some people that have kind of some light reflecting off of them in the corner of this photo, and it was a little bit distracting because the rest of it's just so dark. So it actually works out really well to collage that there. This next picture is a picture of our feet at the Frenchman Art Market. And so I'm adding some tape to the bottom of it and cutting it off because I don't want it to be too thick. And I like the way that the tape kind of blends into the sidewalk, but it still creates a little bit of a barrier. And then I use a stamp. I think it says, "Let's hit the pavement." And so I just add that to the bottom, and I think it turns out really cute. I don't know if you guys do this, but I feel like we take a lot of feet photos on our trips. So I'm really liking the way these pages turned out. Now you can see the final spreads. I think that going back to the simple style has been a really nice change. It's kind of given me some new ideas, even if they're simple ideas, which is just nice. It's just nice to feel like things can be switched up a little bit. It's really fun to look back on the trips and kind of remember some things that maybe we'd forgotten about how the trip went. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.